All right, everyone. Welcome to the fifth day of the Midwest Mountaineering Outdoor Adventure Expo. It's been a few days. We've had a lot of great presentations with a few more coming up today. Uh, Starting off today, we have Climbing in the Front Range of Colorado, a presentation by Sevve Stember. This is a very exciting presentation on Colorado's Front Range. If you've not been, definitely go check it out. A lot of great peaks, a lot of great sport climbing, a lot of great adventures to be had, and I'm looking forward to this unique perspective. So without further ado, Sevve Stember.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm super excited to participate in yet another Midwest Mountaineering Outdoor Expo. I've been doing this for, probably like 10 years, not necessarily consecutive, but, I'm born and raised in Bemidji, Minnesota. I learned to climb in Duluth. I attended the College of Saint Scholastica, and then I lived in Northeast Minneapolis. So I am a Minnesota climber through and through. I learned to climb there. I'm still connected to the Minnesota climbing community to this day. Some of my dear friends, Bobby Oman, Dan Brazel, and many others are still part of the Minnesota climbing community. So just really happy to be here with y'all. Special thanks to Adon and the owners of Midwest Mountaineering for putting this on. I think it's really important now more than ever to be part of a community and be yeah, just sharing what brings us together. There's a lot of division and a lot of pain in the world right now, and I just think things like this, sharing our loves, sharing our mutual passions, is super important. So that's a little bit about me and my background. I am streaming right now from my backyard. It is a beautiful Colorado day. I live on the west side of Denver in Arvada. So I've been here, I think coming up on 8 years. It's like 7 or 8, the years kind of blend together. But I first started climbing in 2004. So I believe it's this fall will be my 17th anniversary of being a climber. And it's something that just really like aligns with my soul. It makes me happy. Many of my friends are climbers, and it's just been a meaningful activity in my life. And it's more than an activity, it's a lifestyle and almost a way of viewing the world. um so anyway, I am here to tell you all about climbing in the Front Range. And the purpose of this presentation is, one, to share some stories and some cool routes that I've done. But more importantly, it's about you and, whether that's a trip this summer that's like super concrete and you need beta on camping and routes and areas to go, or maybe you're just like, oh, 1 year, someday. Whichever it is, my most like the most important thing about today is just that you leave with what you are interested in getting out of it. Sorry, think there's a slight echo. Hold on a second. Yeah, let me know if I'm still echoey, Adon. Phone is down. Um yeah, regardless, just let me know what questions you have in the chat on the website, which y'all are looking at. There's just a chat now button, so click that and ask questions throughout the presentation, please. All right. Checking the chat right now. Hmm. All right, cool. I'm taking a look at the chat, so just drop anything in there as you need. Okay, so we're gonna start up in the Pooter, which is just outside of Fort Collins. So we're gonna go north to south. We're gonna take a journey from Pooter on down to Estes Park. We'll transition to St. Vrain. Of course, you've heard of Boulder. We'll spend a little bit of time in Boulder Canyon. We'll head to Clear Creek Canyon, which is one of my home crags. I was just there guiding yesterday. Actually, I work for Denver Mountain Guiding, doing Warriors Way clinics, which is what I'm presenting on tomorrow with the Rock Warriors Way. And some of you have heard of Arno Ilgner. So something I can tell you about a little bit later. We'll head to Devil's Head, which is part of the South Platte. And then we'll end at Shelf Road, which is some of the best limestone sport climbing in the state. Cool. That's the journey. All right, the Pooter. Pooter Canyon, like I said, is just outside of Fort Collins. It's basically straight west. There's a little bit of everything there. There's sport climbing, trad climbing, bouldering. As you can see, there's also does get snow. There's excellent skiing up the pass. So there's probably some ice climb, although I'm not much of an ice climber. So I've been there maybe like a half dozen times. I've done some sport climbing and some bouldering. So I'll share some of the bouldering there. As you can see, it's granite. So, some bigger blocky features, nice friction. Granite doesn't really get too polished unless it's glacially polished, like in Yosemite Valley. So just some really nice movement, some really nice problems. Um, the best resource for the Pooter, or really for any of these areas before you buy a guidebook, is just to check out Mountain Project. So, definitely check there. And I actually don't have a guidebook for Pooter, but I do know there is one that is in print with multiple editions. So definitely check that out for more information. This was quite a few years ago with my friend Frank Jadwin. He's actually back in Minnesota. And a good variety of, like moderates, V0 to V3. These particular routes that we're on are like more in the V5, V4, V5, V6 range. So yeah, the Pooter, super cool area. So Estes Park is north of Denver. It's home to Rocky Mountain National Park, um, which is home to Tommy Caldwell and a bunch of other mountain athletes. There's the Diamond, which we're not going to talk about today. I do have information on alpine climbing, and I'll share my contact information later. I love getting questions. I love getting, if you're planning a trip and you want beta on alpine climbing, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. But yeah, Estes has, again, a little bit of everything: alpine climbing, snow, ice, mountaineering, bouldering, sport climbing. And the place I'll show you today is the monastery. The monastery is like what I would consider a high alpine sport climbing area. You are in this setting that has this beautiful view of the Diamond. So, you can camp up there, which is what I did the first visit I was there. And it's actually, like, truthfully uphill both ways. You start on a flat approach, you go down, and then you go back up. And it's about a 45-minute approach to get there. I would say the area has a high concentration of hard sport routes. Tommy Caldwell has bolted and established, like Psychotomic is 12D. And then there's the quickening. So, a wide variety of like 513 and 514 routes, which certainly not for the majority of us. But, there's also some really cool routes in the 5.9, 5.10, and 5.11 range. And this particular route is like mid-range 5.10. And I mean, what a cool setting, right? To be able to climb that spire and kind of stand on a freestanding finger of rock. So basically, just east of Estes Park is St. Vrain Canyon. So it's one of the drainages that comes out of the Rockies. And there is some forgotten climbing there. I say forgotten because it just doesn't get climbed that often. One of my friends that's in the climbing industry, Ryan, he's actually, I don't know if I should say this, but I'll let you know a secret. He's working on an upcoming guidebook for St. Vrain. So there will be an updated canyon or updated guidebook, and I do expect there to be sort of a resurgence of interest in St. Vrain. But anyway, there is some super excellent sport climbing, trad climbing, bouldering. It's mainly one pitch, although there are, maybe some like 2, 3, and 4 pitch routes. Some of my top picks for climbing in the St. Vrain is Riverwall 2, and that's what this feature is. Basically, it's right on the river, thus the name. Trojan Bunny Buttress and Boy Scout Rock. One of my favorite things to do in the Vrain is, do a day of alpine climbing, get a little spooked, climbing on trad gear way up at 10 or 11 or, 14,000 feet if you're on the diamond. And then to have a really chill day and head to St. Vrain because, you can just sport climb. You're not very far off the ground. Cool. So we're going to travel south towards this is Horsetooth Reservoir is between Fort Collins and Boulder, so really close to DIA if you're flying in or whatever. It's only sport climbing, it's only bouldering. So for those of you interested in some really great bouldering, check it out. You can boulder there year round. I've been there in December, January. As you can see, there's some snow on the ground. The summers are hot here, but not to say that you couldn't climb, find some shade here or there. This one's called Right Eliminator. My friend Adam. The moon arete. Anytime, for those of you that don't know, like a right angle would be considered an arete. And yeah, again, I would say like quite a few moderates, V0 to V3, and then I think up to the V double digits, so V10, V11 range. And then there's another reservoir, Carter Reservoir, which I forget if Horsetooth or Carter is further north or south, but they're very close to each other, and they both have some pretty great bouldering. Carter Reservoir, my top pick for routes there is the Kahuna Roof. I believe this is V6. It's just like a really proud, really aesthetic boulder. Doughboy. This one's tall. Like, as you can see, 20 plus feet. So, kind of flirting with that edge between a boulder problem and a high ball. And a high ball is, what we'd call in the climbing community where you're blending bouldering with free soloing, and free soloing is like climbing without a rope. Yep. Cool. We'll journey next to Boulder Canyon. Boulder Canyon is, of course, in Boulder. It is granite, and sounding like a broken record, but we most of the canyons have most of the disciplines. I would say that Boulder Canyon is most known for sport climbing. There's the majority of the routes are sport climbing, but on Castle Rock, yeah, right there, there's actually some really great trad climbing. Like Country Club Crack is this like 5-star, like 11B, just like really great training for going to Yosemite if you're, trying to improve your crack skills. And then some of my favorite crags for sport climbing are Animal World, Easter Rock, the Black Widow area, and Blob Rock. But honestly, you can find great routes at any of the crags. Before I forget, be mindful of falcon closures. There is falcon closures in Boulder Canyon and Clear Creek Canyon, probably most of the canyons, right? And it's just really important to be up to speed on those. As climbers, we're always doing the dance with the land management agencies. And we just want to be really mindful of a lot of things, right? Leave no trace ethics, be respectful of the natural world and all of the other animals that are living there, right? It's their home, not ours. So we just got to be really respectful of that. Yeah, so anyway, check out the Front Range Climbers Coalition to get falcon closure information. Mountain Project often has it. Definitely some resources out there. Yeah, so we're here in Boulder Canyon now, heading south along the Front Range. This is at Lower Animal World. Actually, another one of my Minnesota friends, Matt Sully. Some of you may know him. This is like literally the first or second day I ever lived in Colorado. This is like in 2013. This is a 12A called Animal Rights Activist. Yeah, nice sport route. This is kind of like entering into the crux. You traversed out this rail, and then there's some slopers just above the quick draw there that I haven't clipped yet. This is at I think is that right? Easter Rock. This is a 5-star 12A called Empire of the Fenceless. Definitely one of the most classic routes in all of Boulder Canyon. The setting there, as you can see, you're just perched right on this arete, and it's just like a special position. The rock quality is immaculate. Definitely something to check out if you're climbing at or near that grade. It's 12A. Just funny. All of my pictures are of Minnesota locals. This is Randy Baum. He is like a staple in the Minnesota climbing community. Really talented climber, sport climbing, trad climbing, bouldering. This is Gill Crack, named after John Gill. It's 12A and it's not very tall. Randy and I trad climbed on Castle Rock like earlier in the morning, and I think Randy was climbing well, but I was kind of having an off day and just like wasn't placing gear that well. So we took off our harnesses and we were kind of bouldering around on Gill Crack. And the joke is that it's actually harder to place gear than it is just to boulder it. So we got a couple of crash pads out, and the ground is probably where the picture cuts out. So it's not like we're like hundreds of feet up. We're literally like, Randy's maybe like 10, 15 feet off the ground right now. But as you can see, like the route tops out and, you're maybe like 25 feet up, 30 feet up. And you just, when you finish the route, you reach over here to the left and you like grab a jug and down climb the 5-9 over here. So we were both able to do this, which was special. Like it's kind of a um, historic route because John Gill is he's a legend, climbing legend. All right, this is in the Black Widow area. I think this is like Arachnid. It's a 12B. Yeah, as you can see, just like really beautiful rock. There's lichen, and you know, you got the green and the black lichen. All right, so we'll head a little further south to Eldo, or El Dorado Canyon. This is a state park, and it is just south of Boulder, north of Golden. And just a side note, you know, if you're like a, you know, more of a beginner climber, and you maybe want the support of guiding services. Again, I work with Denver Mountain Guiding, and we guide all throughout the Front Range. So like basically every area that we're visiting today is an area that you could have a guided experience at. So just an option, one of many options. So yeah, Eldo, definitely known as a trad climbing area. Sure, there are sport routes, but that'd be like the minority of routes, maybe 5 or 10% of the routes are sport climbing. The majority are multi-pitch trad climbing. And the cool thing about Eldo is there's something for everyone, assuming that you know how to place trad gear proficiently. There's, you know, 5-3 routes, all the way up to like probably 514, but definitely like 513 plus trad lines. It's an acquired taste. You aren't climbing splitter cracks very often. You're actually doing a lot of face climbing on discontinuous crack systems. And so you can experience like more run out climbing. And run out just means that there's not much gear. And you can also find like very safe and sufficiently protected routes. It took me a while, actually, like 4 or 5 years to warm up to Eldo, just because the style was so different than climbing in Yosemite or Indian Creek. But after I've warmed up to it, it's become one of the most special places to me. The energy of the canyon is really strong. It's just it's a beautiful setting, and you know, you can't help but just um yeah, fall in love with the natural world a little bit when you're there. So super cool area. Perhaps the most climbed route in the world, or at least the most climbed trad line, multi-pitch trad line, is the Bastille. The Bastille crack is 5.7. It's amazing. I think it's like 4 or 5 pitches long. Traditionally protected, rated 5.7. An absolute must do. And as you can see, the road is just right there. So it's maybe the shortest approach you'll ever experience. You park your car, you walk 100 meters up canyon, plop your rope down, and you're en route before you know it. On the same feature is a really classic route called Outer Space, another Minnesota climber. This is Walraff. This is Michael Walraff, super talented. Definitely miss you, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, 10B. You place some gear and then you sort of traverse. And as you can see on the picture on the right there, you're definitely in outer space. So this is like what you'd consider the outer space move, when you're kind of working your way out and left and up. When you get to the top of the Bastille, there's a sport line on this panel of rock. So there are sport lines for sure. There's like maybe 8 to 10 major features in Eldo, and they all have like, tens or hundreds of routes on them. So it's, there's a lot of climbing there, a lifetime's worth of climbing there. This is on the Red Garden Wall in the roof routes area. And big surprise, there's some bouldering there. Trying to remember the name of this. It'll come back to me. It's a Mega Classic V5, and it gets a little high. I wouldn't say it's a high ball. It's just like you get to the mantle move, and you're like, I'm quite a ways off the ground. It's on the tip of my tongue. There's the Milton boulder. This is roadside. So again, like just right there on the road. Three Sisters bouldering is up near Conifer Evergreen. And I would say this is like a great place to go. If you've got a family and a little kiddo, if you're, maybe wanting like more beginner friendly bouldering, primarily like V0 to V6 is kind of the sweet spot for the Three Sisters bouldering. And, if you're not familiar with Conifer Evergreen, this is straight west of Denver on I-70, maybe just like a half hour, 45 minutes away. Some of the boulders there in Three Sisters. Okay, this is Clear Creek. I've probably climbed at Clear Creek more than anywhere on planet Earth. I know anywhere else that I've ever climbed on planet Earth. I know the canyon inside and out. I was guiding in Clear Creek all weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. So it's it's near and dear to me. The owner of Denver Mountain Guides, Kevin Capps, he's the guidebook author of the first, second, and third edition. I mean, this is the third edition. Just a ton of climbing, right? There's pretty thick guidebook. We were on some moderate routes yesterday, 5-6, 5-6, 5-7, 5-8. And then, there's some 514 climbing there. So again, something for everyone in Clear Creek. This is at the Wall of Justice. This is, although it's steep and I'm cutting my feet loose there, it's, I think it's approachable. It's like 511B. Forget the name of this one, but super cool route. This is the New River Wall. Some of the harder climbing in the canyon, basically like 13A through mid-range 514. This rock type is gneiss, like GNEISS, which is a metamorphosed granite. And I would say stylistically, it climbs very uniquely. There's nothing quite like gneiss that I've ever climbed before. This is taken from the Wall of the 90s, looking down at the parking area. Some of the most classic routes there. You can see the climber on the right. That's Reefer Madness, 11A, kind of like a delicate crimping route. Tend to see the guy and the white shirt is in the south facing routes. And if you have questions about that stuff, like I said, I know the canyon really well. I can steer you in the direction towards summer routes, winter routes, whatever, either way. either way, you'll be you'll well, I think of it, North Table Mountain is also a front range crag that I go to often. It's the closest area to my house. Um, I don't have any, we're not going to cover that much today, but just a shout out to North Table Mountain. Lots of great routes there as well. This is the Anarchy Wall. I would say most of the routes are in the like 40 to 80 foot tall range. There are certainly some multi-pitch routes and, you know, maybe sport routes up to like 100, 120 feet tall. But the majority of the routes are kind of in that like, yeah, maybe like 60 or 80 foot range. This is a close up of some of the routes on Anarchy Wall. A lot of 512 on this wall. Anarchitect 12D, like Canyon classic for sure. This is me on it. Anarchitect, like circa 2013 or something. Oh, this is fun. So one of the cool things about Clear Creek is you have to Tyrolean traverse across the river sometimes. And so this rope and what my friend Adam here is doing, or I think that's Mitchell actually. You know, you're pulling yourself. So you clip a carabiner to your harness, and then you just pull yourself across the river, and then you take yourself off the rope. Just kind of like a fun little piece of character that's available there in Clear Creek. Yeah, this is the Primo Wall, the Ivory Tower. There's like a really nice 5'9" to the left of this is my buddy Garrison, and then you know some 5'11". I think the Ivory Tower is 11 BC, and then some 512 routes. Couple of photos. This is Ken Tanks, 12C. And like I said, some bouldering. I don't know as much about the bouldering in Clear Creek just because I boulder less, but there is some excellent bouldering. So check out that. Again, Mountain Project has some pretty great beta. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. I'm not really that like connected to the highlining world because I don't highline, but you know, you guys have probably seen some people, you know, in the trying to remember some of the lakes over there. But yeah, in like the Minneapolis area, you know, in a grassy park, you've got some people slacklining and having a picnic and whatnot. Well, you take the same idea, right? A slack line, and you find, you know, a cliff here and a cliff here, and you string a high line between the two. So yeah, there's some highlining in Clear Creek. This is my friend Heather Larson. She's like a professional highliner, which is amazing that exists. Super talented woman. Yeah. Okay, so we're heading south yet again. This is the Morrison area. This is just south of Golden by like 10 or 15 minutes. You know, 30 minutes from DIA. This is cool. So this is on the dark side, what they call the dark side. And the crack feature is V2 or V3. So that would like come in at like mid-range 511 if you were trad climbing. Really nice finger crack and, you know, on the higher side. So kind of an exciting top out. And then I think this route over here on the left side is, you know, approachable V0, V2 range. This is cool. There's like a compression arete. So you're using both sides of the arete, kind of slapping your way up. This one's V6. Okay. In case you haven't figured this out, there is a ton of climbing in the Front Range, right? This isn't even including anything up high, you know, in the alpine setting or on the western slope or anything. This is literally just a sampling. It's not even all of the climbing in the Front Range. So the Devil's Head is just one area within the South Platte, and the South Platte is this expansive, the most expansive region within the Front Range. Basically, it starts around like Castle Rock, which is on the way between Denver and Colorado Springs. Um, so anyway, the South Platte extends from Castle Rock all the way down past Colorado Springs, and it's granite. There's single pitch, multi pitch, sport climbing, bouldering. So I'll show you a couple pictures of this area. Yeah, like I said, here's some of the granite domes kind of in the distance. This is called the headstone, 2 or 3 pitch, like trad line. Some sport climbing in the South Platte. And then this is called the crimp fest wall. Crimping as like, you know, a small hold. Like this would be a crimp. If this book were like a hold, I would be crimping on it, right? Like that. So that's Pikes Peak in the background. And I mean, it's just like a really special area, right? You hike in like 30 to 45 minutes through this conifer forest. You know, you cannot see a road, you can't see a single house in any direction, and you got this expansive view of Pikes Peak as you're climbing, you know, on this like bulletproof, immaculate granite. So super cool area. Definitely high on my list of must sees in the or must do's in the Front Range. Okay, so we've made it as far south as Garden of the Gods, which is in Colorado Springs. If you're not a climber or you're looking for a rest day, this is a great place to go hiking, go on the trail run. You could have a picnic. You don't even have to move, just get out of the car and have a picnic. There's a lot of like beautiful sandstone features, and I haven't done any of the roped climbing in Garden of the Gods. I would say it's more of like a historical area than it is excellent climbing. The sandstone there isn't as dense, or you know, it's like maybe a little more chossy than you'd see in the Flatirons. So I just don't think it lends itself to like world class climbing. But there definitely is some classic climbing there, and you know, stuff put up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, kind of a more old school ethic. There's some great bouldering, however, so check out the bouldering there. I think this one's called Floater. This is the float move up to this kind of sloping hold. All right, so we are nearing the end of our journey. And this is Shelf Road. Definitely one of the most special places to me. Just checking the chat thread here. Give me a second. Cool. Looks like we're good. So yes, Shelf Road, limestone. There's not a lot of limestone in Colorado, really in the United States, right? There's like France and Spain kind of won the limestone lottery. They've got the most and the best, but I personally love climbing on limestone. Shelf Road, 10 Sweep in Wyoming, the Black Hills in South Dakota have some, but yeah, Shelf Road is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from the Front Range. Something for everyone, moderate routes, you know. probably starting at like 5'7", 5'8", up to, yeah, 5'13" plus 5'14". Um, Beautiful setting. There's really great camping. The BLM, or Bureau of Land Management, has built a lot of new camping up there, so definitely something to check out. As you can see, it is southwest of Colorado Springs. This might not be like considered truly the Front Range, but I consider it a home crag anyway. This is the 2150 wall. I would say Shelf Road is characterized by like dead vertical or maybe slightly less than. And there's some overhanging terrain too, but most of it's just like dead vertical sport climbing. Some really nice panels of rock. The 2150 wall, I think, is just excellent. This is Cactus Cliff on the, taken on the approach, just walking from the campgrounds early in the morning. Yep, there's Cactus right there. The dark side, I don't have very many photos of, but there is some north-facing cliffs, so you could definitely climb there year-round. I climb at Shelf mostly from like November through February. So in other words, in the coldest months, and then I just climb it in the sun. And you can climb in a t-shirt in January, which is pretty cool. The gym. This has, like, I would say, the highest concentration of harder sport climbing, 512, 513 range. This one's called Ejection Generation. Start out kind of on this overhanging terrain and launch your way up. Contest wall in the Sand Gulch area. This one's cool because the contest wall is here and the freeform wall is here, and they both face opposite directions because they face one another. So you can get shade or sun basically any time of the day. When I turned 30, which was a little while ago, I did a 30 by 30 challenge. So we woke up at like 5 a.m. And I climbed 30 routes, which was super special. I had an awesome support crew. They hung draws, took them down, and took care of me. Here I am, kind of midday, checking off routes, making sure I'm on track. All right, so that's all I have in terms of information on the on sport climbing in the Front Range. Just a brief plug here. I'm in the final stages of becoming a Warriors Way trainer. Many of you have probably heard of the Rock Warriors Way. It is a book by Arno Ilgner, and it focuses on mental training for climbers. And basically, I partner with Denver Mountain Guides. A little shout out to them. And we offer falling and commitment clinics all over the Front Range. I'm going to be offering these at Red Wing in Minnesota. You can't take me out of the Minnesota climbing community. I love it. And so I'll be offering these, for the indefinite future. A great opportunity for people to learn to build incremental skill when it comes to falling. Like we want to practice good basketball players practice free throws in the same way. Climbers should be practicing falling. So hit me up if you are interested in a falling and commitment course. Social media, hopefully you're not on it, but if you are, give me a follow on Instagram, Sevve Elliott, the Rock Warriors Way, and then Denver Mountain Guiding. And then most importantly, like I started with, the Outdoor Expo and, this presentation are all about you. And your love of the outdoors. And so, hopefully you learn something that'll help you plan a trip in the future. If you have questions now or in the future, you can hit me up at sevvestember@gmail.com. Or if you prefer, a direct message on Instagram also works. So that's all I have for y'all today. Um, I'll stick around here for a minute and answer any questions that I may have missed. But yeah, I'll hand it back over to Adon.
Hey, Sevve, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Excellent. Make sure looks like the viewers out there can also hear us. Great, fantastic presentation. I know that if some of our staff were not working right now, they'd be watching this because I mentioned it to a few of them, and we have a lot of newer staff at the store and experienced staff, and they've been going out climbing quite a bit as the weather's been getting nicer and nicer, and a lot of them not kind of being in that kind of college age group. They had spring break, they went and traveled and stuff, and I know that they came back with some great stories of Colorado and the Southwest. So I know they're looking for more places to climb and to adventure to. So I think this will definitely catch their attention pretty well.
Nice.
I love seeing all the photos. You can definitely see a little bit of maybe transition there from some film shots to some more digital modern shots. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice to see all that showing off that great landscape. Tomorrow we have you scheduled for, just double check my calendar here. Right at noon, mental training the Rock Warriors Way.
Yep.
Tomorrow,
Yep.
Tuesday, April 27th. I look forward to catching up with you then tomorrow. Thanks to everyone who watched. These are all archived and being recorded and going to be archived on our YouTube page. So YouTube/Midwest Mountaineering, or you can rewatch them again on the outdooradventureexpo.com site. There's a previous tab just below the player there that you can watch all the previous presentation of this current expo, and any other expos that we've recorded will be on the YouTube page. So thank you so much, Stevie. Sevvy, I'll connect with you tomorrow in the morning.
That's awesome. Thanks, Adon. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Likewise. Take care. Bye.
Yep.